Hello, what's going on, everybody? Tobin here with you. Thank you for tuning on in to this video. I appreciate you guys. If you guys like the radio show and you want to hear the Tobin and Leroy experience, you guys can do so by going to youtube.com/theticketmiami. Also become a subscriber to our podcast. At least 4 episodes up for you to listen in your ears every single day. If you guys want to watch the full episodes, that'll be twitch.tv/79totheticket. So you got your content that way. Last night, you had the Miami Heat with a draft night where they took Nikola Jović. Not the Joker, the Yover. Nikola Jović, that is their pick at number 27. They did keep the pick for now. They did not end up trading it. There was no wheeling and dealing. I got to tell you, this Woj, huge liar. He, first of all, he blew the first 3 picks and then just went, just kidding, which I have to say, it's got to be 2 things. Teddy Atlas used to say this about judging. It's either incompetence or corruption. So it's either that Woj completely botched it, which is kind of hard to believe considering his track record, or something's a Vegas miss here. There's like a betting scandal, something that was going on. I don't honestly really see the point in even watching the draft live anymore. The NBA draft, first of all, the Heat are never in that position where they're getting a top pick. So it's kind of rare that I want to stick around for the top half of it anyway. I don't find it to be as exciting as the NFL draft. There's just something less goosies about it. I don't know what to tell you. It just is what it is. And they're so ahead on the picks. They know what everybody's going to do. So I find it a much better experience just being on Twitter for it. But for the Heat, the thing that was crazy about it, all these picks were leaking. There was like a faucet out there, dude, of information. You get to the Heat's pick, no info. I'm like, who is it going to be? Ty Washington, EJ Liddell, who the hell is it going to be? Ends up being Jović. Jović is the guy they get. Nikola Jović just turned 19 years old, like spanking new 19. June 9th, his birthday, so he just flipped it on over. When Tyler Hero, they had him at 19, but it was like 19 and a half skis. This is kind of how it was. So they bring this wonder in from Serbia, very skilled. Not a typical thing for the Heat to go European when it comes to their drafts. I know Riley said yesterday, well, we played Goran Dragic. It's like, yeah, you played Goran Dragic. You gave up 2 first-round picks for him. Like, Goran Dragic was pretty established at that point in his career. With his run with the Phoenix Suns, and then obviously was still established as one of the best point guards in franchise history, maybe the best point guard in franchise history. It's just him and Tim Hardaway. That's the argument right now. Possibly Kyrie Irving. But for Goran, like, yeah, this was not like international prospect that you went out and scouted in the middle of nowhere. It was a little bit odd, that they went the direction. Now, as the second international guy, they've technically international guy because Precious Achiuwa was from Nigeria, but he did play college ball at Memphis, so I don't know if people count that or not. I feel like that kind of flips it on over. Like, do you count Joel Embiid as an international player? I would say, yeah, they probably do, even though he played at Kansas. So, whatever. The point is, they end up getting Jović, and it looks like a very, very exciting prospect. Immediately run to Twitter to see what the highlights are of this dude, because I'm not going to lie, I went into last night, I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. Jović. I'm like, is this a joke? This is actually his name. His name is just like the MVPs, except with one letter being different. And sure enough, it is. Born in England, moved to Serbia, I think he was at 9, sprouted up like 8-9 inches over the last couple of years, was a water polo player, and looks like he's got himself a little bag. A lot of the international people are raving about him, about his talent, about his potential development. Super skinny, 6'10", 6'11", but looks like he could shoot the hell out of the basketball and has a good skill set. So I don't know, man. I think it's going to be fun should he be here. And that's the other thing that's kind of interesting. It's like, well, let's be real about it. Do we know if Nikola Jović is going to end up being with the Miami Heat? And if he is, I would immediately like to change his name to Nikola Jović. That's what I would like to do. And I would actually like them selling Nikola at the arena. I think it'd be a refreshing drink to have. I'm always thinking marketing here for the Miami Heat. That's what I really want to do. But you don't know. I mean, maybe he's going to end up being in some kind of a draft package. Maybe he's in a trade for Kyrie Irving, because we find out yesterday that Kyrie Irving, the Heat, they made the list. You always want to make the list. The list is important. Who are the teams that Kyrie Irving wants to go to? I'll try to name them off the top of my head. I think it was both LA teams. So you had the Lakers, the Clippers, New York Knicks, Dallas Mavericks, Philadelphia 76ers, and the Miami Heat. Those are the teams that Kyrie Irving would like to be traded to in a possible sign and trade scenario should things not work out with the Brooklyn Nets. So still very interesting to me. The deal remains interesting to me, and there's a couple of caveats to it. Like, I really believe that this is a deal that he should be able to get done without giving up a Tyler Hero. I think because of the money you're going to have to give up to a guy who's a little bit, of a wild card. I don't know if this goes in the category of a Bradley Beal or Donovan Mitchell. I've said this on a couple of videos because I feel like if the Heat offered Tyler Hero, I feel like the deal would be done like yesterday. The only thing I feel like would stop that is if they're really fearful of Kevin Durant leaving, which is an interesting part of this. Like, apparently Kyrie Irving may or may not be using Kevin Durant to hold the Nets hostage, and is using his happiness as leverage to whether or not he would stay long-term in Brooklyn or he would bounce this year or eventually. There seems to be some flimsiness on where that report is and where his actual heart is, Kevin Durant's, that is, on requesting a trade. I do think it's a tough spot for Kevin Durant because you think about what his career has been. You know, he leaves for free agency at one point to go to the Warriors. Everybody kills him for it. I didn't. I was like, you know what? You know, if you had and that, mind you, he talked to the Heat that summer too, so I really wanted Kevin Durant. But you get it. It's like, oh, if you have this magic cap space that opened up out of nowhere and you could link up with somebody, I could see why you would want to go do it with a team that was that damn good. The move to Brooklyn after things got kind of frosty and petty over there in Golden State, especially after the Achilles tear that happened and their GM crying all over the place, I think it made sense. Everybody was like, oh my God, him and Kyrie, and they have all this young squad. Now, I think things where they went a little wacky for them is, and this happened a little bit with Cleveland too, but LeBron actually ended up having successes. You get to these organizations, you want to have all the power, you want to have all the control, but when things don't work out, you look around to your front office like, well, what are we supposed to do? Like, if I give away Jared Allen and wanted DeAndre Jordan to start, why did this work out? How are we going to fix this? And it's just like small thing after small thing. Or if you're going to give away all your depth for James Harden and you don't take into account, hey, James Harden may want to leave. He may be James Harden and do his James Harden stuff, or he may not like Kyrie Irving. If you don't take all that stuff into account, no. In defense, I think everybody would take Kyrie, James Harden, and Kevin Durant. What team wouldn't want some powerhouse like that all put together? But we're seeing that this super team thing is not working out as cleanly as most teams would think it would. And it's probably better off to be in more the dynamic duo type of setting than you are just going and throwing all your chips onto the table and eradicating all depth, even though by the end of it, you are probably playing 6 or 7 guys. There is a grind with this regular season. We can see guys get hurt, and it can really, really affect you. And I think the Nets dealt with a lot of that this year. I think for Durant, though, to get back to him, the idea of him asking for a trade after seeing the team you left win a championship and now seeing your entire plan in Brooklyn just kind of fall apart, is he going to be looked upon as like he's run into a new championship situation yet again? I don't know. That's an interesting thing. And then you have to account, if that really is a thing, then what are the teams? Because I'd imagine all the teams that would be in on Kyrie Irving would try and be in on Kevin Durant. But what does it take to trade for Kevin Durant? Like, if you were the Miami Heat in this situation, how do you get Kevin Durant without giving up Bam Adebayo? Like, how does anybody give up? How do the Celtics get Kevin Durant without giving up Jaylen Brown? So like, you're getting in Kevin Durant, but you also, if you want Kevin Durant, would obviously want to add him to the core that's ready, unless you could just really wow them with like future picks to let it be known, like, hey, when this thing all blows up, you guys are going to be here to reap the benefits and reap the rewards. And then do you risk losing out on a guy like Kyrie Irving if you're the Miami Heat to wait out the whole Kevin Durant thing. That's a risky move too, because I feel like Kyrie Irving could be the perfect piece in a vacuum for the Miami Heat and adding to this team. And you don't have to give up nearly as much as you would for Kevin Durant, even though I acknowledge, yes, Kevin Durant is, a top 3 player in the world, is one of the best walking the planet. And, some think at some points is the best walking the planet. I mean, I don't know if he maybe has that distinction quite right now, but look, there would be there's nobody like this comes on the trade market with this much of a contract left. It doesn't happen. LeBron, his contract's run out. Anthony Davis, usually 1-2 years left. Kawhi Leonard, free agent. Maybe is Paul George maybe like the highest class of player that got traded with that much time left on his deal. So it's such a unique situation, and I think it puts Kevin Durant in a weird spot. I think it puts the teams that would be interested in him in a weird spot. I don't know. I do know I saw one of the dumbest trade scenarios I ever proposed, and that was on First Things First is the show on Fox. That's their morning show. And Chris Broussard proposed that if he was the Nets GM and he had to trade Kyrie Irving, he's calling up the Miami Heat and he's asking for Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo for Kyrie Irving. And he's also going to throw Ben Simmons into the deal. What a guy. What a deal. I was flummoxed seeing that. I was like, really? So you want to trade the Heat, who are a shot away from the NBA Finals, you want to trade their 2 best players, or you think they'll trade their 2 best players for a guy who maybe will play basketball and a guy who doesn't play basketball? I'm sure they're down for that. It's a genius banging idea, Chris Broussard. Thanks for that one, dude. Really appreciate it. But I think there were some people that were thinking that there was going to be a lot of action last night. I really wasn't. It didn't feel like the trades were going to be out there, the big-time trades. Like, we still have these opt-ins to get to, and once these decisions are made, our guy's going to opt in, opt out. What are they going to do? Then I think you're going to see a lot of action. And I think also for the big teams and the contending teams that do want to trade for one of these stars, you're not in a rush to trade for picks last night. Like, the Heat having the 27th pick, that's not going to make or break a deal. These teams are going to want to bank on the idea that they can get in on the Miami Heat when they think the Miami Heat are at their lowest. Similar to what happened to the Nets and the Boston Celtics. And the Boston Celtics making that trade of Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, and they happened to get those picks back, and then it all cratered for the Brooklyn Nets. Seems to happen a lot to them, by the end, if I'm honest. And then you get to reap the benefits of getting those top picks. Speaking of if I'm honest, shout out to Goran Dragic, dude. I mean, there's all these rumors of Slovenian. When you speak to the Slovenian, that's got a scouting or front office job with the Heat or a coaching job with the Heat. I mean, getting Jović seems like right up Gogi's alley. Like, he's just like, I got something for you, buddy. Little secret. Wink, wink. Also, it also appears that Goran Dragic may have gone into they may have not realized they had a fox in the henhouse, the Brooklyn Nets, and he could have gone in like a double agent and basically threw a Molotov cocktail into the Brooklyn Nets. And now it seems like we have a situation where maybe both those guys are leaving and the Miami Heat might be here to catch somebody from all of the fallout. Gogi, shout out, buddy. Heat lifer for life. You're the best. Want to just pinch those Slovenian cheeks of yours. Anywho, it's going to be fun to watch.